Hello and welcome to the 91 podcast, the show where we dig deep into people's passions with the hope to encourage, educate and inspire you. On today's episode, we have a woman who is a great lover of God and a great lover of her family. And her name is Anu Ukueku. Welcome, Anu. It's lovely to have you in the studio today.
Thank you very much, Ivana. It's lovely to be here.
So tell me, Anu, how many children do you have?
Okay, so I've got 4 children, ages 7 to 1.
Oh, that's great. It must be a bit crazy at home sometimes.
Oh yeah, always. Not sometimes, always. But yeah.
And I hear you homeschool them.
Yes. So we tend to use the word home educate rather than homeschooling because so I'd rather say home educate my children rather than homeschooling. Yeah.
Okay, why would you rather use that term?
Because for me, homeschooling is just like bringing school to your home, like just changing the environment of schooling. But with education, it's all around. From the time they wake up to when they go to bed, they are constantly learning. And education is the most important thing rather than the schooling itself. So, yeah, I think that is why I hope you understand the difference. Yeah.
I've never heard anyone actually mention that before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just used to saying homeschooling.
Yeah. Because there's so many people that just take, for example, homeschool, you just take what the school does at school and do it at home. Like in terms of the way they sit in class, they have the desk, the chair, they have a structured 9 to 3, do all the things that you need to do in school. And it's really, but for us as a family, we think educating our children is an all-round thing. So it's not just a specific time of the day, but all throughout the day.
And why did you make this decision to home educate your children? Some people might think, oh wow, like many people try to get away from their children.
Yes.
A lot of people go to work to escape their children.
Oh yes.
But then you're spending 24 hours with your children, with 4 children. Why would you make that decision? I
think that's a very good question. And the first, when we started educating our children, it was when we had to. We had to when we started the journey. And now God has added 2 more to us. So one of the reasons why we decided to go on this journey was basically to make God the center of the education, because we noticed that God has been taken away from our education system, and also to be the key influence in our children's life. And to spend, I really loved the biblical way of family, like teach them when you wake up, when you lay down, when you go around, like it's a constant thing. It's not just for devotion time in the morning or so. All that is one of the reasons why we thought educating our children at home would be best.
So what's your program like? What's your schedule like with your children? What's a normal day like?
So a normal day in the Ukueku family, it would be us waking up mommy waking up way before everybody else. Say, for example, before I started having the little ones, I wake up around 4:30ish. But for the children, I tend to wake them up around 7:30 before 8. And they know what to do. So they get dressed, they lay their bed, say their prayer, have their own breakfast. It was when I had my last that I taught the boys to make their own porridge. So they would make their breakfast themselves.
And how old are they?
7 and Daniel just turned 7 in July. So at 6, he knows how to make his own porridge. Cereal, obviously microwave, no the burner, but yeah. And so after breakfast, they have their independent work that they do. That is not with mom, so that I can have time with the little ones. So that would look like their handwriting. Their mental maths. So maths is an everyday thing they've got workbook each, and then they do their piano practice.
Mm.
So, and after that, we now do a family devotion time. And that would be around at 10 o'clock. Then I would have maybe attended to the little ones, because my little one just turned 1. So she was still a baby. So she's still a baby. And she's still a baby. So we'll do that. And then after that, we now have a teaching time. So teaching, after devotion, will be teaching time with mom. I get up and teach mainly the maths and the English. And they sit on their desks, they do their work. Then after, we have the break, like lunch, and they have a quiet time. Because I like to, even though they don't like it, they push against them. Like, when you grow older, you will understand that it's okay to take a rest, and it's better for us to start training you now. Because one thing I've noticed is that everyone just go, and there is no break. So we have a break time, whether you want to play during your quiet time, but make sure it's quiet. You relax yourself. And then later we carry on. After quiet time, we start again. And this will be like read aloud sessions. So they will have the Legos or the quiet toy that they're playing with. Play while I read for them. I could read science subjects, I could read geography, I could read stories, but it's all just together, or Bible story, anything that is on that lesson for the day. And then after, we go out for them to run around. By the time they go and run around, and they've just started learning, riding their bikes. So they enjoy going out to ride bikes all the time. So by the time we come back, they're tired, and it's almost dinner time. And so that's a typical day for
the life of the Ukueku.
Yes.
So do you do all the home education by yourself, or does your husband join in?
So at this point in time, because it's really still young, I do most of the lesson. When he's around, he tries to also input his own any way that he can. But at this time, I'm the major one that is taking the responsibility of the education.
Many people are afraid of the idea of home education because they're saying that you're locking your children away from the real world. They're not getting to engage with the real world or meet people from different backgrounds. What's your take on that?
I actually take a different approach to that, because with home education, your children get to experience different people.
How?
Like, have different ages and different from different backgrounds. Say, for example, they go to the library. They're not just in-house 24/7 of the day. We go to church. We go to swimming lessons. We meet different people. You go to the park. You meet different people. They play with different set of people. We go to the library, like different things. Go to the museum. You can see how they're confident in who they are, and they're not shy, because this is the way I say it. Say, for example, you're in school, you tend to relate more to your age group.
Yes, because you're in a
particular. But with home education, they can, like, for example, Daniel can strike up conversation with anyone, regardless of the age, whether he's 80-something or you are 50-something, because he's that confident. He doesn't have the pressure of, oh, what will my friend think about me if I'm talking to XYZ. That pressure is not there. That's my belief, that pressure is not there. And with Gideon, though Gideon is more reserved, but you can still see that he's confident. Though he will not go and strike up a conversation, but when he needs to talk to someone, he can easily speak confidently. He's not shy. He's just more reserved. That's just it. So I think with home education, you are even more sociable.
How do they meet people? Because in school you've got like a big group of children to play with. But
so how do they meet people of their age, or do you mean
of their age? Like
of their age. Say, for example, in church, we have children in church of the same age that they meet. When we go to clubs, when we go to swimming, for example, they meet children there. When you go to, or they meet people, not just children. You meet people there. So that's, and it's I guess the question is, what do we mean by socialization?
Yeah.
Because it can be relative. It can be one thing to you, might be one thing, or social, or are you talking about them interacting with other people, which everyone can really interact with each other, regardless of anywhere you go to.
At the shop, at swimming, like you mentioned.
Anywhere.
So they have friends then?
Oh, yes. So in terms of that, we are part of a community as well. Home education community. We are called Classical Conversation. So we use the classical approach to teach our children. And it's called, CC, Classical Conversation. So we do meet every Tuesday.
Okay.
And it's gained momentum now. Before it was just a couple of us. Now it's like huge range of children from different background. I think as at last week that we restarted, we were, if I'm not exaggerating, definitely more than 20 of us. Wow. Like 10 families, and obviously over 10 families.
So they're meeting a bunch of children every single Tuesday?
Every single day. Okay. Every single Tuesday, yes.
It seems like they have quite healthy relationships then.
Yes.
Because with everything you're making them do, going to museum, going to swimming, piano, all those things. And then every Tuesday they're meeting with these children. So it seems they're having healthy relationships.
Absolutely. And it's of different ages as well. It's not just a 7-year-old. In 7-year-old, like, we are all a big group of different ages from 0 to, let me say 14.
Wow.
Yeah, 14.
So for you to have gone into home educating your children, then you must think there's something quite wrong with the education system today. And so what is it? Why would you home educate? What's wrong with education today?
Well, with education today, I know God has been taken out of it. And anything God is not in, it's a big no in my own book.
So why would you say that God's been taken out? How?
Before we know that the way things were taught, like, you still get to do devotion in schools.
Some schools.
Some schools you're
not allowed to do that.
Now you're not even allowed to do that anymore at all. Even in Christian schools, you still, and even with Christians, well, I did say I was not going to talk about schools before people come for me, but yeah,
sorry, just to say, you're sharing your passion right now. So
exactly. So please,
this is your view. This is your passion. So
absolutely,
it doesn't matter what other people think about it.
Absolutely, and with my take, I saw someone said to me, "What about Christian school? Why can't you send your children to Christian school?" But in Christian school, you have Muslims teaching them in the Christian school. I'm like, how does that add up? For me, how does that add up? Like, this is a Christian school. What is anyone that does not understand my faith or understand where I'm coming from or what I'm trying to put in? And one key thing for me is that education is discipleship. And when you think about it like that, who is pouring into our children? Who is discipling them? Because though research has shown that parents are the key influencers, regardless if you go to school or not. Parents are the key influencers in the children's life. But at the same time, most times our children are away from their parent. Someone else is discipling them. And that for me is something that God has helped me to understand from an early on. I can't just allow my children to just go anywhere or be with anyone. It's not to say that I'm God, I'm shielding them, but there's nothing wrong with shielding them. because you know there is fire out there.
There's
Are
a
you
lot
going
of
to
fire
let
out there.
them to walk into it? Are you going to protect them? So I think that is the way I see it. And with education now, which is even now gone into something else that I don't even want to know, because I don't technically follow the government curriculum. I choose a different curriculum for my children that is God viewed, like, you know, because it's also based on your worldview as well, what you want to pour into. Because people might say, oh, we are medicating our children, but curriculums can also be who is writing the curriculum, what mindset do they have when they write. So all these things have to be put in place.
Well, you know, some people might say that at the end of the day, one of your children may go out there and still end up interacting, maybe seeing a billboard about certain thing that you don't want them to. So in that kind of instance, how have you prepared your child or prepared your children to deal with those things that they will meet outside the home?
Okay, so I'll give you a classic example. We went to Blue Water, and at Blue Water, we were just walking, and obviously children are young, they're just looking all around, and he saw someone with a sex toy.
What?
Like literally holding a sex toy
In
broad daylight, just walking about. And Daniel was like, Mom, why is that person holding that? It's meant to be private.
Wait, so he even knows what it is?
Of course. It's because of the shape of the thing. Like, you know, it's the men's part. So he could see because it was being flung around. So I know that we cannot protect them from everything that
even
they
in broad
see.
daylight,
Even in broad daylight,
that.
there is no way. No, and I'm not ignorant of that. At the time, I didn't know what to do or how to respond. The African mom in me just wanted to tell him, just cover your eye, or like, you've seen it now. Let's get over it. Don't talk about it anymore. The more we talk about it, that was what was going on in my head. But I was checked, because I know some children, they might see things and they might forget. Some children, it lingers up in their mind, and that's how seeds are being sown. So I literally I had to go and find resources to help me, like a book. And I think the title of the book was Good Picture, Bad Picture, of things that can be seen and what is appropriate and what is not for their level, because they're still young. And for me, I like to deal with things when they are, that is appropriate for their age, rather than just bombarding them with information that they don't need at that time. So Good Picture, Bad Picture was very clear of how they need to. So with books, is one of the key things I use to eliminate any things I'm not sure of. I pray to God, Lord, help me, because I know on this journey, God is the only one that has helped me, even in helping them to learn.
But you explained what it was to him.
I explained.
You told him it was a sex toy.
No, I did not go into detail, because I'm just like, it's just something that's not appropriate to be seen, because we've been talking about our body being private. So that's an example of something that's meant to be private that's being shown around.
But funny enough, he already knew that, because he said, why is this person putting that out there?
Yes,
and
exactly.
It's something private.
So he's already aware, although we don't really go too much into it. When this question arises, we deal with it. Because for me, I'm like, let children enjoy their childhood. Let them be children. Let them just be children. And that was not just, and that does not even just go to what they're being taught in school. It's in their play, in the tasks that we give to them, like the responsibilities. Let children be children. And because the years go so quick. The days might be short, but the years are so quick. So quick.
So what do you have to say to people who might say, because you're shielding your children from these things now, when they finally get the chance to be, away from you, outside of the house, they're going to go crazy with these things, get addicted to these things. What do you have to say to those people?
For me, I know that one of the things that God has helped me to understand is that my children also need Jesus. They also need Christ for themselves. No matter what I pour in them, they need to find themselves. They need to find God for themselves. So regardless of whether I homeschool, whether I shield, whether they go to school, whether they will still go any way they want. But my biggest conviction or hope is that whatever we put in them, the seed that's been sown in them will germinate. And even if they go out, they will not stray far before they find their way back.
And teach a child the way they should go.
Train up a child in the way it should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. That has been one of a great comfort to me. But I don't want them to get to a point that they would have to go. I was brought up in a Christian home. I grew up in a Christian home. I've been fasting from when I was really young. But then I was thinking about it as it was a torture. But then I look back and I thank my grandma for teaching me how to fast, for teaching me how to. She always say she has this favorite adage: pray so that you won't have to pray. Fast so that you won't have to fast.
You won't find yourself in a situation where you now have to do it.
Exactly. So that has always been an anchor for me. And raising them, they might not like it. They might even, but it's not for now. It's an investment for the future.
But how do you feel that with you home educating your children, they'll be able to be independent without you there?
Oh yeah, I believe so, because we are training them for the battlefield. It's not just a matter of you're going to be here with us forever. We know that when they get to a certain stage, they would have to go out, and everything that we're doing or that we will be doing in the future as well has to gear around an independent child or independent children in my case, so that they can stand on their own 2 feet. When the time is right, they will have to do. If they have to take work, they will have to work. If they have to do things that will make them independent. But one thing that God is helping me to remind me is, what do I want 20-year-old Daniel to be? Start from there and pour as much as you can. Not that it's going to it might decide it doesn't want to go the way I'm picturing it to be, but with prayer, with constant, and that there is a lot to it. There is a lot to it, but I am confident that the more seed that have been sown into the lives of our children, even if the enemy comes, they will be able to recognize it.
Wow. Wow. You see, I love the idea of home education, but my one fear is, if you're home educating your child, these days it's like, both parents have to be working to be able to get an income, to be able to take care of their children. So if you're home educating your child, it's like, okay, you're not able to work, you're not able to make an income. So how do you handle, finances and all of that when you're pouring so much of yourself into your children that you can't go out and work?
Do you know, the beautiful thing about God is, when you follow the instruction, when you do it from your whole heart, it will make your way. When we started medicating our children, I was not working. My husband was not working.
And you decided to home educate?
And we did. It was like, now is the time. Because Daniel was actually in school. He started going to nursery because he turned 3. So, the old 3, nursery. Was going to school, main school, that we were open. Then we were like, he just went for 3 months. And in January we took him out. And then COVID happened in March. And during that time we were not working. Both of us were not working. So for me, I know God makes a way. Once you once you have the right motive and your right reason for wanting to do things, it makes a way. Saying that, there are also some families that I know that are working and making it happen. I know of GP practitioner that's medicating the children. I know of nurses. People might say maybe because they have shift patterns, we have single moms that are medicating. So there is literally no excuse if you want to do it, because you're not following a set time. So you can fit it around, you can work around your children, yourself. If you have to wake up early, you have to go to bed late, you make it work because you know what is out there. It's definitely not something that anyone should be.
I didn't actually think of that. I didn't think it was possible. Single mother educating. Practitioner educating.
Oh yes, absolutely. And then people with businesses, people are starting their own businesses. Because when you think about it, you go to school to start working. You go to school and it's like the rat race. But one day you have to come off that. I'm not saying working 9 to 5 is brilliant. Like, some people are not called into business. I get them. At the same time, if you are called, if you know what is important to you, you will make it. It will definitely make it work. There is no excuse.
Another question I have for you is, how do you find time for yourself? Because you've got 4 children, you're home educating them. So when do you actually have Anu time? Time to enjoy yourself, time to breathe, time to socialize for yourself.
Yeah, that is one of the challenge at the moment. I won't even lie, because having children almost close to the same age.
And your children's ages are from 1 to 7?
Yes, so my first just turned 7 in July. My second is going to be 6. So currently it's 5. So it's going to be 6 in December. Then I've got it soon to be 3-year-old going to 13. And then a 1-year-old. So when they're so close in age, having a mommy time, alone time, socials, can't really go out of the way. But I prioritize and I guard my me self. Like early in the morning is my favorite part, because I'm an early riser. Even before my children start coming, I wake up quite early in the morning to get the alone time with God, because I know the importance of dedicating that time to God. Once I do that, my day goes smoothly. Even if my children are misbehaving, I'm more calmer. I'm more relaxed in myself. I think straight. But when I don't have that devotion time, it's as if the whole world has gone upside down.
Wow.
So I tend to guard that time. But in terms of transparency now, because I have little ones, sometimes my nights are usually long. From baby crying or feeding, it can get really challenging sometimes. So I just do. And one of the things that I'm learning, and that's why I say it's education rather than schooling. We have good days, we have bad days. So they're learning along the way as well. There's some days mommy's not having a good day. Let's just play. It's okay. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be a set rigid time, but they're also learning life lessons as well. Like, when things are not going, it's not everyday days are going to be perfect. Things are not going to be perfect every day. And they are learning how to deal with that as well as we journey together in this. So, yeah. And also, I try to meet up with my girls at least once in 3 months, at least. Thank God for a understanding husband.
So maybe your girl.
I try. I really do try. At least we tell ourselves, let's do this.
Are your girls also home educating?
No, out of
circle.
Did
they think you were crazy doing?
Oh yeah, 100%. But now I'm trying to pull everyone in. Come on, let's do this together. Like, no, you're not graced for it. I'm not graced for it. No, you're the one that can. But everyone is graced.
To be honest, I think it's an amazing thing to do. It's something I've been thinking of myself also. But then my mind keeps going to the, do I do this? Can I do this? How would I have time for myself?
And
how would I?
And the truth of the matter is, just like any job that you have, you will have days whereby you doubt yourself. You will have days whereby you think like you are not doing enough, or you are not doing, or can you even? Okay. I think it was when I was pregnant with my last. I went up and I was in tears because I'm like, did I hear God? Like, was it something else? Was it really like,
How did I get myself
in? But obviously, because of the hormone, everything was so expanded, and I was in tears. And my husband was like, "Oh, do you think we should just hire a tutor?" That just. I was like, what do you mean? Like, he was trying to help, like, find solutions to things. I'm like,
men are always trying to find solutions.
I'm like, how can if I'm to come to you and tell you at your work and tell you, oh, should we find someone to do your job? How would that make you feel? Like, I was just in tears. But then, you get that imposter syndrome. It's like, that tells you can't. But we know God has given us everything we can to do His goodwill. And raising our children in His way is His goodwill, and this is a plan.
But how do you deal with subjects that you're not an expert in? Maybe sciences or something like that.
Funny enough, I was never a science student. I ran away from science when I was like, I would rather do anything else. The only science subject I did back in Nigeria was biology. But now I'm learning with my children.
Just to teach them.
Even I'm finding that I'm actually interested in science. So we are all educating together. And the ones that I know that once they grow older, like, I would have to outsource. There is that possibility of outsourcing and finding the right teacher too. There are so many online this thing now. Online classes, it's just finding the right one that will suit the family. So there is so many ways. But for me currently, I'm not outsourcing. The only thing I'm outsourcing now is music, the piano lesson, because I'm not good at anything instrument. But I really want my children to.
But how do you? Is there some sort of criteria or some sort of requirements you have to follow to make sure that your children are learning what other children out there are learning?
I don't follow any regimented criteria, and I'll tell you why. Because someone in the government is the one that's telling you this is what your children are meant to learn at this particular stage, at that particular. But I have children. Daniel, for example, is 7. Sorry. He's not a confident reader yet. He can read, but he's not a confident reader. I have a 5-year-old who is a confident reader.
Wow.
If I'm to compare them, if they're to send them to school, they'll be like, oh, because he's not reading at this particular age, he's meant to be sent back because of. But at this level, we are going at his pace. I know before he gets to be a teenager, by God's grace, before the end of this year, he would be confident in reading. So we sort of like tailor their learning, not to. There's an adage that says if you look at how a fish is meant to climb a tree, or something vice versa. Like, you can't use the same brush to paint everyone. And in terms of criteria, when they do want to go to maybe university, for example, and we have to gauge through the criteria they need, I'm sure we would tailor whatever it is that we need, because I'm not big on GCSEs or this thing as well. But if, for example, they want to become a doctor, I know they have to have the education to become a doctor.
Doctor.
So we will tailor
Around what they
around
want.
what they require. And don't forget that people come in from different places and from around the world. They don't do GCSEs. They do equivalent to GCSEs.
Yeah, they all do that.
As far as they have the right qualification, they'll be fine. And that's the way I see it.
So how long do you plan to home educate them? To what level?
By God's grace, God's willing, God granting us strength. And it's quite enjoyable actually. When they through secondary school as well.
Oh, wow.
So when they get to university, when they're about to go to university,
Wow.
because I know I can't do that bit, and they too, they need to go out there and be the light that people are sending 4 years old to go and be a light in school. Don't get me started on that, but yeah.
Wow, that's going to be many years of home education.
Yes, but the challenging bit about it, or the most exciting, hopeful bit about it, is that once a child learns to read and write, the sky is not even a limit. They can pick up anything. So you're there to sort of like oversee, especially in secondary school, because you've been training them. So you too, anyone that wants to be to want to do their career, they can easily entrust that their children are getting the right education at any level, because they've given them the tool. They've trained them to know how to manage their time, to know how to set their timetable, to not. So all you're doing then is to sort of like oversee what they're doing and making sure that they are meeting the right standard. And if it's teaching, you create time to teach them. If they don't understand, they know they can come to you, or you get family, mom, dad, grandpa, anyone that can sit with them to oversee them. You get what I'm saying? So there is always a way.
What do you have to say to people out there who would say, oh, you're not a qualified, trained teacher, so you shouldn't be teaching your children. They should be taught by qualified, trained teachers out there in schools. So what do you have to say to those people?
So, God gave these children to me to train up, to teach everything that they need. I'm able to also learn what teachers. And please, teachers out there, don't come for me for this comment. But most of the time, they have curriculums, right? That they have to plan.
Yeah.
You have to plan each subject, But one of the challenging things for teacher is having more children in a room that you have to organize and make them listen to what you're teaching
and
them,
give each of them attention.
And that can be challenging. And my hats to you teachers, because just dealing with just two of them at the same time can be a challenge on its own. But as I was saying, like, when people say to me, am I a teacher? I'm like, no, I'm not a teacher, but I am a learner. And I'm also willing to learn, so that I can give my children the best education that they can.
Wow.
And they have to, because we are royals, because we are God's own, we have to do things excellently. Not inferior, but just excellently well. Just because of that. So yeah, that's my answer to
that question. So Anu, there's a question which I'm sure many women are thinking about right now. Sometimes it feels like as women, we're the ones that are always taking care of the children. You're the one that has to hold the child if you want, you're cooking or doing this or doing that. And it's almost like men get more time to themselves. And I don't know if that's something you can agree with, or if it's just me thinking that sometimes you feel like your husband's getting more time to do what he wants to do, to enjoy his life. So with the home educating your children, I'm sure that might even feel a bit worse. And how do you deal with that?
Okay, so in the spirit of transparency, when I just had my last child, and sometimes I do blame it on a man sometimes. So Is there more not? Okay. I was feeling like I'm the one constantly doing. It never stops. Is it the cooking? Is it the cleaning? Is it the waking,
breastfeeding?
like the breastfeeding? And then sometimes because the men don't understand it, they come in and make some insensitive comments, and then you just flare up. You're like, but when the Bible when the Bible was written, because I like to, my anchor scripture for this journey that I'm on, especially when it comes to the classical reason, is to look at the old. What was done in the old. And I think it was Jeremiah 6:16 that says, look at the pathway, look to the old pathway and find peace. That has been one of the things that I'm like, I'd rather look to what our ancestors have done and done well. Rather than look towards what my mate or the future, which we are not there yet. So I that's how so for me, anything that worked well in the past is has a chance of working.
Okay.
So I'm happy. Though my flesh struggles with it, and I would not even lie to you, there's still thoughts. And one of the main reason why I struggle is because when I'm flicking through social media and I'm seeing all these boss babies bossing it, living in their beautiful homes, going on holidays, because all these things, spending money, living life, like
flat tummy, looking good.
Oh my days! But then I bring myself back because I know it has to cost me something. It always has to cost. It cost God Jesus. It wasn't happy. It wasn't as if, but he knew the sacrifice I was going to make was going to cover us all. So it was worth making.
And your children are worth the
my
sacrifice
children
that you are making.
Absolutely. I do get down days whereby I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to anymore. But then I encourage myself in the Lord and tell myself, it's not about now. You know, when people go to work, they get salary and that boosts them up. And I want to go again. Like, because they know we don't get that.
It just reminded me of something. There's something I was discussing with my sister, because we both had, babies at the same time. And my sister was saying that, mothers are like house girls without any salary.
Well, I'll flip that, because house girls have no authority, no nothing, just yes, sir. Like, but no, I would not look at it like that. No, I would just look at it as we are God's. God has gifted us these beautiful ones to nurture, to train, not the government. Not this, nobody else. God has given us everything we need to bring them up. God made us women for a reason, not men, because He knows the reason why we are there. He knows the purpose to which He has created us for, exactly why. So don't let us get caught up in the mundane. Oh, I have to wash, I have to do. If we need help, ask the men. Sometimes we don't ask, and I'm guilty of that. So, especially when I'm upset, I will carry another one.
You carry one on your head,
and I'm good at that. Like, oh, I don't need you. I would do it myself.
I can't lie. Sometimes I do that. You carry the two of them upstairs, kind of. They just do me a face like that.
Exactly.
I'll look at you then.
I can't. But then there's so many times that my husband has traveled and I actually miss him. Just the fact that someone is there
to complain,
like even to just babe, can you please? something happened recently, and I'm like, oh, are you waiting for me to just say thank you? I refuse to. But Holy Spirit is checking me to say thank you. He took the children out so I can get 30 minutes respite. All the 4 of them to the park. I'm like, yeah, I take them every single time to the park for 2 hours. Like, so why is 30 minutes such a big deal?
Why should I say thank you to you?
Why should I say thank you to you? But then I was being checked because that's no is no. And we build muscles. Muscles go stronger. If we don't use it, it's gonna go. It's gonna be weak. We women, God has made us to have strong muscles.
He has equipped us differently from them.
So much so. They have their own struggle. The fact that they're not vocal about it does not mean they're not going through their own challenges.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that we don't even understand. But who do they have to complain to? Then I say, yeah. So we see them, we see that, oh, they're doing their own thing, or they are having the best time of their life,
more time
to themselves. But we've come to an agreement in our family, like, you take care of providing. You will not ask me to come and do that bit for you. And I'm managing. I'm the CEO of the home. You are the CEO of the. You are the CEO of your whatever it is that you want to do. But it works well for our family because we don't. And I believe anyone also can do it. It's a matter of what is your lifestyle like. What are we? Yeah. What is our lifestyle like? I won't just wake up in the morning and say we're going to Hawaii or going on holiday. Not that that's not nice, but I know I'm not going to get in debt because of holiday.
Because you're seeing people on Instagram going on holiday.
Because I'm doing, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I have to manage myself. I have to manage what we have. I have to manage, and I have to, that's where budgeting comes in. If I don't have to spend money at that, I won't need to spend money at that. If I have to, our books is usually second hand. I don't randomly just buy new books because I know they're expensive.
But you know that that's what works for you.
I know that was what works for me at this point in my, maybe 5-6 years time down the road, it might look different because the children are all matured. I can say, yeah, I can take in more responsibility to help my husband. But at the moment, you do you. You go out there, make it. As far as you're covering, God is covering us as well. As far as you're under the umbrella of your Father, we'll be fine. So my advice to any woman out there, like, let the men be men and let be you, whatever that means to you. Do you.
Don't keep getting jealous of them.
No, because you don't know what struggles they're going through in there. It might look like, oh, and funny enough, I had a sister friend of mine went, you want us to look size 8, you want us to have a clean house, take care of the children, be responsible for the husband. Like, this job is like, it's too much. But when you think about it, even after I have thought, I'm like, if my house is messy, I am okay because I know what is important. If you're coming to my house now and say, oh, there's crumbs over there. If you want to judge me because of the crumbs, judge me. I don't care. If you do, help me sweep it. If you want to be my friend, help me tidy up as well. Like, you get, like, we'll find what works for you as a family. But let men be men, and us, if you want to be a career woman, please be a career woman.
Wow. So, one final question.
No.
So, you probably when you went to uni, you probably got a degree in a particular area that you were passionate about, that you love doing. What was that?
Was I passionate about? Well, going to uni was more or less of, yes, you have to go to uni. I'm not a believer of you have to go to uni to succeed. I'm definitely not a believer of that. And I tell young people as well, any young people that will listen, don't need to go to uni to be successful. A lot of us went to uni. We got so many depth coming out of it because it's not like a specialized. I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a this. But anything else you can learn. You don't need to, like, there's so many courses out there.
So you didn't go to uni because you...
not because I was passionate about no, sorry. I went to uni because
you were asked to do it.
I was asked to do it, and I think I was the first out of my family members to get a degree.
Wow.
Like, that was such a big deal.
Because the question I have there is, many people, they go to uni to get a degree. Many women, many mothers, they get a degree, and then they think, I want to chase this career. I want to do this. I want to do that. Do you ever feel that? Do you ever regret maybe not chasing a career, picking your family over a career?
Okay. So in that respect, I've never thought that I would be a stay-at-home mom. To never my wildest dream.
Wow.
Would I ever think? Every time I see myself, I'm seeing myself speaking to thousands of women. Speaking like, boss, big time bossing it up. But then
boss lady.
But then, which is still possible, which is very much possible, but it's just not my it's not my now. If that makes sense, because I know there's so many women out there doing great exploits in the workplace. But what about the home life? I guess let's just put it at that.
So you don't believe a woman can have it all? Some people have that belief.
No, a woman can have it all if that's what they want. However, something has to give somewhere.
So you have to sacrifice something.
There's something has to be sacrificed one way or another. How big sacrifice that is?
So what are you willing to sacrifice?
What are you willing to sacrifice?
Is it your home or is it your career?
And I'm not saying it's not possible to have a career, because even if I decide I want to go back to work now, nothing is stopping me. Do you get? But I personally have a big conviction about being at home with my children. I couldn't, even when they were babies, I looked for nurseries just to put them in nursery. There was just a strong, I could not. And people might say, oh, maybe because I don't think I'm that maternal. Even my husband is more gentle than I am, because I'm the firm one when it comes to parenting. So I don't think it's that. I just think for me, it's a calling that God has called me, and this is my own ministry, and I'm taking it and I'm running with it. Other people might have it different, and that's okay. You know what God is telling you. I know what God is telling me. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. That was quite deep.
Yes, it is. It is deeper. Even way deeper. But let's just leave it at the surface.
Because mostly, just final.
Yes.
Because mostly, I often think maybe the reason people choose home education is because of all the fear out there. You see things online about, children in the school this is being done to them, or they're being abused, or this or that. So that is not your reason for home education.
My children have not been in school, so they don't even I've not.
So it's not the news you're seeing out there. So
it's not the news, because and this is one of the biggest thing for me, as I was thinking about it before coming. Like, people are now saying, oh, let's homeschool our children, because of what is out there. So we are reacting to what this
fear,
but it's already there all along. But and I'm gonna say this with bold face, to anyone that's listening to me, that Christians are the ones that are more reacting now because of what is some. I had an interesting conversation with a woman in a Kuman teacher, and she was like, "Oh, you're medicating your children, and this and that," and she was like, "Oh, it's only Muslims that are here that will medicate their children," and that was a question mark for me. Like, yes,
I didn't even know Muslims home educated their children.
Oh yeah, there's so many people out there medicating their children. Muslims, different reason why people medicate their children. Some, because, like you said, because of maybe children are being bullied, because children might have learning difficulties or some difficulties or
because of the fear
disabilities and things like that. But now that is out there, like, everyone was not fearing, but the reason why you're taking the children out, which is good, by the way, if you can, please take your children out of school, if you can. But the major reason of why we choose to medicate is to put God, not because of the fear of what is out there. Because we are in this world anyway. They'll still go through whatever it is that we are running away from. They're still going to be there. In front of my house, I have different people from different sexual orientation. And they display it right there in front of, like, you look up, you see them half naked, just wearing boxers. I cannot shield my children from
half
that.
naked.
Like, literally during the summer period, it's even worse because they just want to flaunt it. Wow. They're in your face. I can't protect my children from that. And the school system is being governed by being poured out to
be pushing agendas.
Exactly. So there is no way, no how, whether we do, whether we don't. But it's high time for Christians to know what they believe in and stand up for what they believe in. Whether you want them to be in school, be the voice for your children. Because you cannot expect those children to stand up for themselves. Does that make sense? And I hear people say we want our children to be the salt and light. Children are impressionable. There is no way, no how a 4 years old is being a salt and light in anywhere. Or a 7-year-old that's just trying to find themselves. That they don't know their own left and right.
At that age, you can be easily manipulated.
The children are like sponges. The fact that my child went to school for just 3 months, it's still, the devil on sign. Learned it at nursery, still doing it till today. Even though I'm telling him that's the wrong thing to do, but still doing it. But I'm not, like I said, they too need Jesus. I'm not their Jesus. I'm not saying anything I do will make them, but Jesus himself would arrest them at the right time. But I want to make sure that I do everything that I can. And I know that I'm done. Like, I gave everything that I need to give. I don't have no regrets. When you look back and you're like, I wish I had stayed at home. I wish I spent time. I'm not going to you're not going to come back and tell me, no, I don't want to look back and I don't want to wish. According to how God wants me to, I have given unto you. Now go into the world and be that salt and light at the right time. So,
at the right time.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I was getting a bit emotional. Because when you said children are impressionable, I just started remembering things. Because I can remember certain things from when I was a child, certain things that happened, and you're thinking, you would want to prevent your children from going through those things also. You'd want to protect them, guard them, educate them, be there for them so that someone else doesn't take advantage of your absence.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Anu. It was great having you in the studio today.
You're welcome.
So if you enjoyed that, please don't forget to comment, to like, and to share. And if you're thinking of home educating your children, you can see Anu's details there. So just please contact her and find out some more information about home educating your children. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anu. That was nice.
Wow.